Friends and the great family of Team Sauti, karibuni tena. This is another wonderful segment of Team Sauti called Team Sauti Talk Show, TTS. We are introducing this segment aimed at featuring real life stories of people who have stories that can move the world, who have had a lot of experiences in this life in matters, changes in life, things that happen to us, and there are people who are carrying a lot of testimonies that can keep us moving. Others are carrying stories that we really need to hear, and someone wants to hear a story that someone will go through for them to be better, for them to better even their future and their perception and perspectives in the life that we are living in. And so today is another interesting and wonderful segment where we are going to do our very first show featuring one Faith. We are going to hear the story of Faith, but before we go to the story of Faith, it is important I mention this, that today we are doing our story at La Petals Garden Suites. La Petals Garden Suites is located in Machakos, right opposite Lesak Hotel. It's a wonderful place where you can find yourself with your family members, a group. When you want to do a getaway thing, you have a graduation, you have a ceremony that you want to do it in a closed place within a town or a city. This is a right place where you can come and at least you enjoy yourself. You can do self-cooking, you can do your relaxation with your family, with your friends, with your buddies. It's a wonderful place. We are going to show you a few things about the facility, and next time you are looking for a place to get away, this is the right place. La Petals Garden Suites, located in Machakos. So let's go down to our today's story, and let me introduce my guest, my very first guest for the show, TTS, Faith. Karibu sana, Faith.
Thank you very much, Timothy. It's another pleasure to meet you on this occasion. And my name is Faith Mutunga, and I'm a 26-year-old girl. I'm also a registered clinical officer by profession. Yes.
That sounds like you are a doctor in making.
Yes, of course. I actually practicing.
Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Practicing doctor. Congratulations, Faith. I know you never began as a doctor, you never began as a clinical officer. You have a story. Yes. And I know your history doesn't locate you from where you are today.
Exactly.
Tell us your story, Faith, how you've walked from that major change that happened in your life to where you are today.
Okay, yeah, it kind of, I call it a U-turn, whereby an event happens and it changes your entire life completely. So my story goes back to 8-9 years ago in 2014. Yeah, it was like immediately after my high school, and things happened that I never expected, and they have changed my life completely. Yeah, so if we can start, if you can say I have like 2 different legs. If I meet kids, they call it doll's leg. Yeah, but in medical terms, we call it prosthetic leg. Yeah. So initially I used to have my 2 legs. I used to do my things with my 2 legs. But in 2014, in May, I had an accident. It was a domestic fire incident. It is kind of traumatizing. If I get emotional in between, you just have to understand me. Yeah. So it was just one wonderful day that I was doing dinner for the family, and the lights were out. And by then, my sister, who was around 4 years old, she closed the door, and I didn't notice that. So I was using charcoal jiko to cook, and I think what happened is carbon monoxide poisoning. So I kept feeling kind of dizzy, and I could not figure out why I was feeling like that. So the next thing I knew is that I woke up in an hospital, and I was told that I had passed out, and my left leg had fallen on top of the jiko. So it's like I was frying onions, and immediately like after inserting those tomatoes, that's when I passed out. So you can imagine that incident whereby the leg is on top of the sufuria, and then the oil pours on you, and then there is the charcoal that is burning. So yeah, my leg got burned really bad.
Create for us the picture. What time is it? Your younger sisters close the door. Is it from outside? And where are the parents at this time?
Okay, my mom was working and my father also was working out, so we were 3 of us. My sister Grace Mbula, she was asleep. She had just come from school and she went to sleep direct. Then my younger sister, by then I think she was around 4 years old. Yeah, so I think she was just playing with the door. Then she closed the door, both down, the middle, and the top one. Then I didn't realize that. So after she did that, she also went to sleep.
Okay.
So I can't remember the exact time that I fainted and the exact time that I was saved. Yeah, but what I know is that I took more than 2 hours burning. Yeah, and when my mom came, the lights were already back, and she could not open that door because it was closed. She kept calling and calling, and nobody was answering. And I think because of the smoke that was coming now from the meat, that is my leg. Yeah. I think because of that smoke also it affected the other 2 because they were kind of subconscious. Yeah. So when she came, she kept on knocking and knocking that door, and no one was answering. So by the time my sister was like awake, she just answered my mom like, "Oh, Faith is dead. She is burning, but now she can't stand." So they kept on telling her, "Can you please open the door?" And she was like, "I can't. I'm trying, but I can't even stand."
She's also subconscious. She's fainted.
Not really. She had not lost conscience completely, but I think she was in that situation whereby it's like you're up and you're not up.
Okay.
Yeah, so she struggled to stand and open the door, and then after opening the door, she also fainted. That's what I am usually told. So they took me out to an open environment. From there, they took me to the hospital where I was still unconscious. So they took me to hospital. Actually, I think for first day they took me to Bristol Park and further. So once there, I was now completely conscious. I gained my conscience between from home and to the hospital. So I gained my conscience, and I remember asking the doctor what he has done to my leg, because now I was feeling that burning pain, and I had no idea what had happened before I came there. So after the doctor gave me first aid, I was referred to another hospital. I was taken there. Upon arrival, I was also referred now to Kenyatta National Hospital because they said like my burns were beyond their level of care. So they referred me to Kenyatta, and yeah, my story in Kenyatta is also quite long also. When I was at Kenyatta, I was admitted immediately, and I stayed in hospital for around 5 months. Yeah. So basically it was a matter of treatment, and all the efforts were about saving my leg. And they really tried everything that they could. I went through so many surgeries to try and save the leg, but basically they failed. So they failed to amputate my leg. So yeah, my leg was amputated the same year in July.
So before we go to the point of the amputation and the decision for the amputation to happen, what transpired within the facility? Like they were doing a lot of surgeries. What was the report that was given to you that sasa hii mguu tutafikia mahali pa ikatwe?
By then I was a minor, so a lot of information was not always conveyed to me. So I think most of the time they were communicating to my parents. But what I can say is that during the time I was admitted and the time that they were making the decision to do the amputation, I went through so many, we call it debridements. Yeah, and also they also did a major surgery to try and set the leg, because what happens is after the burns and all the debridements, like you could see the bones, you could see them. That made all the muscle was burned, so they needed a muscle to cover those bones. They needed grafting to cover the muscle that they had transferred, and also some grafts to also cover some of the places where there were some muscles. So they harvested that from the other parts of my body. They harvested a muscle and the skin grafts. Yeah, and then during also that time, they really tried to see that they have the bones covered, so that from there we can see now what we can do with the leg, maybe through physiotherapy, because it was really bad. But after they did that surgery, the major one, it failed. So it failed, and there was no otherwise. Yeah, but to opt for the amputation. Yeah.
When you got the news that you are likely to have your leg amputated, how did the news land into your ears?
It was like a nightmare. Yeah, it was like a nightmare. I was younger by then. I was just like 17 years, almost turning to 18. And you know, by then I didn't know anything after the amputation what could have happened. All I knew is that I was going to lose a leg, and honestly it felt like my life had come to an instant stop. Because now I wondered, what else was I going to do without a leg? And the only thing that came to my mind was that I was going to become a beggar, because that's what I've seen people do without legs. I had never seen like anyone with prosthesis. Yes, the doctors used to tell me there is a shoe that I'm going to wear that looks like a leg and I will be able to walk. But trust me, I tried to imagine it and it was like, that's impossible. So I felt like they were just reassuring me that life was going to be normal, and I was going to go back to my normal life, and things would be like nothing really ever happened. But in my mind, that never sat well. So I kept on thinking about how I'm going to become a beggar. So there was nothing beyond that. I felt like now this was the end of me. Because I remember that night, I also even remember asking God, so why should I keep on living with one leg? Like, how am I going to manage it? And yeah, it was traumatizing. Yeah.
Now your leg has gone through amputation. How long did you stay in hospital?
After the amputation.
Yeah, and what else followed? Were you taken through the counseling? Because now you have a lot of things that are happening in your mind. Did you have sessions with a psychiatrist or psychologist or something close to that?
No,
really?
I didn't have. Yeah, but by then there used to be some counselors who used to pass by, but you know, being a teenager, you are a rebel. So every time I knew they were coming, I could pretend that I was sleeping. Yeah, just to avoid the talk completely. And to be honest, if I was given the chance by then, I don't know if I could have accepted it. Because all I wanted, I had created my own world, my own escape inside me, where all I wanted was to hide. Yeah, so after the decision of amputation was made, all I wanted was everything to remain inside me. I never wanted to get to people. I never wanted to let anyone inside, and I never wanted anyone to learn about anything about me.
Yeah. You have gone through all that.
Mm-hmm.
You are living in your own world.
Yes.
Did you have aspirations before? Like, I want to do this, to be this when I grow up?
Mm-hmm.
And you felt like this change in life is
Mm-hmm.
likely to affect my dreams and aspirations?
By the time my accident happened,
Mm-hmm.
I had not actually decided what I wanted to do with my future.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have anything specific set in my mind that this is what I wanted to achieve.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I wanted. But before the accident, I had made up my mind that I was going to apply for nursing. And I had decided that this is the course that my mind was going to take. That was the journey I had decided I was going to take.
Okay.
Yes, but I had not like ideally come into terms with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, the dream, the passion was to become a nurse.
Mm-hmm.
Currently, you are not a nurse, you are a clinical officer. Where was the turn of events?
Yeah, currently I'm a clinical officer, and during the time my amputation happened, and during the time that I had fitting of my first prosthetic leg, actually I think during the time I had amputation, the time I was discharged from the hospital, went home, was recovering from home, I think I just spent most of my time feeling sorry for myself. But one thing that I appreciate is that when time came for me to apply for college, I had this one friend who was already doing clinical medicine, and she told me clinical medicine will be good for you. And I was like, what's clinical medicine? So she explained it to me, and she was like, you can, when you are applying, you can have it as your first choice and nursing as your second choice. But all of them will land you to a medical school. Yeah, so I followed her advice, and I did. I applied for clinical medicine as my first option, and nursing as my second option. Because even by then, I had not come into terms that I was really going back to my normal life.
So at this point in time, I'm likely to flash you back a little.
Yes.
By the time you were leaving Kenyatta, I want to imagine that's not where you made the decision to get into the medical field. It was at least something that you had carried for a while.
Yeah.
Did you get out of Kenyatta with your prosthesis?
No. I did not get out of Kenyatta with my prosthesis. After the amputation, I was told I needed like around 6 months of healing, or even more, depending on the severity of my burns. They were severe. Actually, I think the idea was to do amputation above the knee, but looking at my age by then, they really tried to have it below knee, because below knee amputation is easier to cope with. Yeah, so they did it below knee, and then they had to do now grafting again. Yeah, so you see the time of healing plus now the grafting to like be firm, it is longer. Yeah, so I needed time for that healing to occur. Yeah. So from Kenyatta, between the time I was discharged from Kenyatta to the time I was told that I was fit to do the prosthesis fitting, it was around 6-7 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
And between now the moment you fit your prosthesis and now you are going to school, you took again some time?
Less than a year.
Less than a year.
Yeah.
Well, that was a quick time. Was now your new condition an inspiration to go to the school, to the medical school?
Actually, now thinking back, I feel like it was more like escape. I really wanted to get out of our house. I really wanted to see what the world held for me. And on top of that, I was more of I think I was curious to know what was awaiting me there. When I decided to get out of this house, what really awaits me out there? Is it something that I'm going to like? is this something that I will be able to take? I just wanted to try live out and see how it was going to work, because being at home, it was like I spent most of my time pitying myself. So it was pity this side, pity the other side. You just try to come out of your house, everyone is like, oh, I'm sorry, oh, I'm sorry. And then you see, those are people who have grown seeing me. And all of a sudden, I disappear for some time, then I come back without a leg. So every time you walk out, even for those who knew what had happened, maybe, you know, nobody expected that I was going to lose the leg in the process. So everyone is looking at you with so much sympathy. Yeah, and it really annoys someone, and it really breaks you. Yes.
Okay. Faith. Sorry for whatever happened there.
It's okay.
How did you respond to all these questions and all this remorse and all this pity? I know one of the responses was to go now to take yourself out and go to school and all that.
Yes.
How did this pity land into your understanding, your hearing?
Honestly, I kind of developed a way of just ignoring everyone, because I was tired of saying thank you to everyone who was telling me sorry, because even after leaving home, wherever I went, every person was like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. So I think the expected response to that is thank you. So you get tired. So I created I just developed a way of just ignoring them. And for every person who asked me, what happened to your leg? I would just go quiet. And okay, many people don't just ask you what happened. Many people are like, was it an accident? So I'm like, yes, it was an accident. So they are like, sorry. Then I'm like, thank you. Yeah, just to maintain the conversation as short as possible.
Before I come to how you operate using your new leg, most of people who have gone through what so far you had gone through tend to get into either depression or into very severe stress or some mental disorder. Did you at any given point find yourself in such a situation?
Wow, that was a good one. Okay. What I can say is that sometimes people suffer but they don't know. In my case, I was suffering but I had no idea. I was told I had PTSD in 2019 when I was completing my college. I had no idea that I had PTSD, and I thought that everything that I was doing, how I was responding to situation was just like normal to me. Little did I know that I had PTSD, but I kept on slipping into depression episodes without my knowledge. I discovered that after someone pointed out that I had an issue to someone close to me, and the person who was told that I had an issue, she approached me, told me this and that, and actually the exact words are, Faith, someone, I won't mention the name, said you're not fit to work. And I was just standing there silent. So she was like, I need to seek help.
You've already done your course.
I've already done my course. Actually, it was my last days of college. And I think it was noticed the last week of my assessment in college. And when I was told that I needed to seek for help, because I knew why he had said so. So what I did, I said, it's okay, it's the help that they want me to get, it's okay. Let me try go to see a counselor. So I went, I saw her, I talked to her and told her that I was told that I needed help. So she was like, why do you feel like you need help? So I narrated to her the events that had happened before I was told to go and look for help. So I narrated everything to her, and she told me I had PTSD that was not addressed. So I had like a chronic PTSD, because now that was like 6 years later after my accident. So she referred me to a psychiatrist, and I did not take it negatively. I approached one, and she really helped me through the process of healing. Yeah, so if I compare myself between the year 2019 up to now, I can say that a lot has changed. And I give credit to the psychiatrist, because now you see, she pointed out things that I thought they were normal to me. She pointed out things that felt like they were like my routine, my hobbies. And eventually they were like my escape places. So she pointed them out. I had like a sleep disorder, and she helped me regulate it. And I developed a healthy pattern of sleeping. Yeah.
What would you tell people who have gone through situations, and majority suffer silently, and even without knowledge, that they are into depression, they're into stress, or similar things?
What I can tell them is that as long as you have gone through any traumatic event, it doesn't matter how strong you feel like you are, you really need that help. You really need to talk to someone, because sometimes our body develops a way of responding to nature, and all those triggers that will take you back to the events that caused trauma to you. So there will be all those triggers, and we all respond differently. And sometimes we develop some ways of living with this trigger. To an extent, we feel like that's our normal life, and it is not. So what I can tell anyone out there who has gone through any traumatic event, sometimes you might feel like you want to be alone. Sometimes you keep on having these nightmares, and you feel like it is just because it happened. Sometimes so much turn around you, and you feel like maybe this happened, and now this is how I have to accept living. No. You might need to look for help, and if you do, it does come with some, how do I say it will pay off, because you will break some of those patterns that some of those patterns that you survive with. You will get to a healthy ones. Yeah. So like for me, I might have not overcome everything, but through speaking to a psychiatrist, I did overcome like 90% of the triggers that I was struggling to deal with. And through that also, I can also discover when I'm slipping back to depression, or to myself when I'm withdrawing from people. So I'm able to tell when I'm going to hit my low, and I'm able to do something that is going to prevent me from going to my low. Because going down to your low is not hard. It's very fast. It can happen within a blink of an eye. But now coming out of that low, it's just another story.
So maybe the final part of this discussion, tell us about your new leg. How do you survive with it? Are you able to work like any other clinical officer wherever you work? Do you have limitations or something like that?
Honestly, when I have my prosthesis, I don't feel any difference. When I was healing, I focused so much on my physical part. So when it comes to my prosthesis, I can do like almost everything by myself. And when it comes to work, I don't struggle. Yeah, that was one of my worries when I went into medical field. I I always ask myself, what if there was an emergency and I can't run? So I can walk. I can't run, but I can walk fast. I can like manage anything and everything. Yes.
Beautiful. Tell us about the leg. How does it operate, perhaps?
So my leg is. I don't know much about them. I might have had it for a long time, but I don't know much about them. But about this particular one which I'm using, I know that it has a socket. That is the part where it is in direct contact with my stump, which is the remaining part of the leg. And then there is also a shuttle lock. Some metal there is inside, and then there is the foot.
Okay.
Yeah. So what happens with the lock is that once I insert my leg, it locks automatic, and you can't pull it out until maybe that's a place that you can press. Once you press it, it opens. But the current one is worn out, and the lock is not currently working. But I can show you. So if you take it, I did that now. I'm supposed to take it off. I'm supposed to press the lock.
This is the lock?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this one. So you're supposed to press it, and once you press it, it releases this one. We call it the pin. The pin connects to now your leg and the prosthetic leg. So this is what I mean when I say I have below knee amputation. It's just slightly below the knee. Yeah. So once I insert it, this part, this one, the pin, it has a place where it enters, and then the socket, and it connects and locks automatic.
And it will not disconnect until you press
it. I press it to open it.
But right now it's not locking. That's why you just
right now it is not working. That's why I just removed it. It is kind of worn out. Yeah, it just needs a replacement, and I will be fine.
Okay.
Yeah, but through it I've been able to run my daily routine and my work. Yeah, and even having fun with friends. But I can do a lot. I can do a lot. Yeah.
Friends, viewers, this is Faith's new foot prosthesis foot, and as she has said, it has a lock here which is supposed to help her, so the socket, the pin and the socket are always locked up until she chooses to remove the prosthesis by pressing in. But as you see, she has not pressed anywhere, meaning that the foot is worn out. And Faith is making a public plea. She is requesting if you can be a blessing to her life, and you bless her to help her to get a new prosthesis foot. Faith, I know it is not a very affordable one. How much are you looking into?
I'm looking into raising 350,000 shillings to get a new leg.
Yeah.
Yes.
350,000 to get a new leg. If you are blessed of the Lord and you may want to be a blessing to her, please be a blessing to Faith. We'll be giving Faith's contact where you can reach out to her in the event that you want to be a blessing into her life. So you are almost surviving.
Yeah, now I'm surviving.
Yeah,
I'm in survival mode.
It is well, Faith. God will come through for you.
Amen.
And we hope that all shall be well, and God is going to be a blessing to you through anyone you never know. You never know. So did this whole thing change your hobbies? What are your new hobbies? I mean, what are you thinking about your future and hobby?
My future and hobbies. One thing that I've always wanted to do the most is swimming, and I really am planning to do. I do swim, but I really want to do like professional swimming. Yes, that is maybe next year. Not long ago.
Okay.
Yeah, other hobbies include reading. I can read. Trust me, I can read. Just that recently I've not been reading that much. I've taken a break, but I'm one person who is always with a book.
How many books have you read so far?
I can't count them, but there are many.
Okay.
I can't also. I've recently started writing, but mostly I'm doing my first book, but it's a fiction book. Yeah.
As you're doing a fiction book, please remember to do for us a book about your story. It's one very inspiring story.
Oh, good.
Where do you see yourself professionally in the perhaps 5-10 years to come?
In the next 5-10 years to come, I would really love to be a CEO, whether of an hospital or a company. But I'm working towards that. So maybe next time I will be sharing my story. I will be sharing a journey of how I grew my first company, or how I came to have my first hospital. Yeah, but one thing I usually like is I'm really looking forward to help reach out to those who are going through too much and they are not able to share. Yeah, outside there I know people are suffering, and I also wish that one day I will also have a platform where we can have like people like me sharing their stories. Yeah, and other interesting stories. I know there are other people who have had amputations and they can do a lot more than I can do. They are there outside, and maybe their stories have not been featured and shared to others. But I'm looking forward to one day also have a platform whereby we can bring them together as a family and we can share and encourage one another. Wow. Yes.
What a dream. Always in our lives, in our uniquenesses, we always have someone that we look up to. Do you have that person, perhaps, in your new state, whom we look up to?
Oh, God. To be honest, I used to admire, there is a lady called Amy Mullins. I really used to admire that lady.
The sporting lady.
Yeah, she does sports. Yeah,
Okay.
she's a retired Paralympic champion. And the first time I was Googling about people without limbs, she's the first one I came across.
Okay.
And I really love her legs. And also my dream is one day to have one leg like hers. I know it costs a lot, but it is worth it. She has great legs.
From faith's mouth to God's ears. And God is going to come through for you, right? Because I know one thing is for sure. God will never take you to a state that he has no business with you being there. And nothing just happens by chance. To us it could be an accident, but in real life, God wanted you to accomplish a specific assignment that you ought to accomplish in that state. So all shall be well. So what would you tell people there as your parting shot? What would you say?
Okay, one thing I will appreciate is that I feel happy to be sharing about myself. I know I've been hiding, and this is not what I usually think of. But I've met people telling me your story can be like life-changing to someone. And I thank Timothy for being aggressive with it. And I thank God that I have been able to land into this platform. Yeah, so I just hope outside there, whoever feels like overwhelmed, I hope this story restores your hope, and it will make you think of life of a blessing. It doesn't matter what happens to your life. Tim is very right when he says that there is always a reason, and that one has carried me through everything. Every time I have a fallback, I always think back that there is a reason for this to happen. There is a reason for this situation. There is a reason for everything, and when you come into terms with that, you are going to go through everything that you are going through. Yeah, and as I go, if you're feeling like generous, you can support me with my leg. I was sure there are different prices, and it depends with your pocket, but for me, the 350,000 one is enough.
So, friends, that's the story of faith. Quite thrilling, but again with a lot of hope, a lot of rejuvenation and revitalization. I believe that the story of faith is one that's going to make you a better person, give you a new perception, new worldview. Whatever you are going through, just know that there is hope. There is always light at the end of the tunnel. This is our first episode of TTS, Team Sauti Talk Show. And we believe that many as are going to come, you are going to be better and to be more encouraged, and even to share your story to make people better. Remember again, this has been made successful by our hosts, La Petals Garden Suits, located in Machakos. They are the best people to host you for getaway activities, including goat eating for your family. You know, and you want to go there and enjoy yourself with maybe your better half or something or someone equivalent. This is a place to be. You enjoy yourself for a night, for two, for a week, for a month. The place is available. You need to give them a phone call and they'll get you. It's a good package. There are many rooms, whether you want to pick one room, two rooms, three rooms, the place is there and it's enough. There's kitchen, there is ablution, there is dining hall, there's sitting room, there's bedroom and suite and everything. So La Petals Garden Suite is one of the best places to be. Located in Machakos, about 300 meters from the highway, right opposite the office of the Deputy Governor, Machakos. Thanks so much and God bless you guys.